Welcome to the Goof and Goober Show, the podcast that brings you laughter, insight, and the quirkiest conversations. Join your hosts, Matthew and Regan, as they embark on a delightful journey through the realms of pop culture, humor, and everyday shenanigans. So, buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster of fun and entertainment. Let's dive into the world of laughs with Matthew and Regan on the Goof and the Goober Show. Welcome back to the Goof and Goober Show, guys. It is me, your host, Regan Dvorak. I am joined with none other than the one, the only, the one that you guys know as one of the Goof and Goober guys. He is currently 6'1", 295 pounds, and has a second child on the way. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Matthew Leathers.
Hey guys, thank you for all the fun and the excitement of all the days of our lives. I just appreciate all the fun, and it's a great time.
Did you watch that soap opera growing up, The Days of Our Lives?
Yeah, my mom used to watch that.
She did?
Oh yeah, all the time.
When I was homeschooled, that was like literally the only show on when we were doing homeschool, and that's what we'd watch when we were bored at school. And I remember one specific episode where one of the girls was like demon possessed, and she was like a doll, if I remember correctly. And I mean, it was horrible, cameras angle. You knew it was fake, even as a kid. But that's just engraved in me.
Do you want to know how many episodes there are?
How many?
14,884 episodes.
Dang, man. They were just cracking them out every day. It's the days of their lives, man.
It came out in 1965. They have 59 episodes of the Days of Our Lives.
1965. So you have to be going all the way. Oh man,
dude,
you gotta be starting.
You know what we gotta do? We gotta binge watch it. All 14,884 episodes.
You're never gonna know what's happening
unless
you watch every single episode. It was probably every single day they had a new episode. They probably recorded the day before and then did all the editing the night of, and then posted it the day after. It was
literally it came out. There's March 4th. They're an hour long. March 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 11th, 12th.
That's the thing with soap operas. I don't know how you can keep up with it, because it just goes from one character story to another character story to another character story. There's so many character stories in soap operas. I have no idea how one woman, I say it can't be just women, maybe it's men. I haven't met a man who's really into soap operas, but how you can keep up with so many character stories in just 1 hour, I don't know. But guys, thank you for listening in on the Goof and Goober Show. If you haven't already, can you do us a favor? Drop a follow. Maybe like the video. Maybe like or rate the podcast on whatever you're listening on. Let us know what you're listening on too. And we'll be sure to reply to your comments on anything you guys want to talk about. We want to know what you guys are listening to and wanting to for us to review or anything like that. But guys, we're also on the old social medias, Facebook, YouTube. Not really a whole lot on YouTube. We do our podcast on YouTube, but Instagram, all that fun jazz. Drop a follow us on there. Currently, let me pull this out right now, because Matthew and I are still in The hunt. I don't even know if I can log in. Yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever. Let me go on my phone.
Instagram?
How many followers do we have on Instagram?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. We need to create more content because I think if we create more content, we will get more followers. I think. We have 87 followers.
Right.
Total.
Right.
So we're down from our previous view count. We were at 88, but I think
at 89.
Been...
We're just losing them left and right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to have a content strategy in play. The problem is that we just have a lot going on, guys.
True.
We have a lot going on. Not only are we podcasters, but we're also workers and providers of our family. We have to be the breadwinners. It's what we are. It's what we're about. And the only way to do that is to work. Right, Regan?
Work. I don't know that song. But yeah, we're hard men. We are men who work hard. And man, do we work hard. Yeah. Yeah.
There are some days, I will say this, there are some days that I hardly work. Like, there are some days. I've had a couple days.
I agree. There's been some days where I just don't really want to do anything right now. But guys, if you are also in the market for anything specific, I'm talking about maybe some headphones. Guys, look right here. You can get some free headphones online, $50. Let's see if it can ship to you. Ooh, guys, you have to do a local pickup, right? It's a door pickup. Sorry, guys. But guys, look at these mint condition Astros. Totally works. These are what do you call these, Matthew? Like they
souvenir?
Souvenir? No, they've been used like a prop.
Statue.
What am I thinking?
Collectible.
Yes, it's a collectible. That's what I'm thinking. These were used by one of the Goof and Goober Show associates leads, and it has been featured multiple times on the Goof and Goober Show, multiple times. So if you guys are really interested in some new headsets, guys, go out there, send a message to Kylie Letters, and make sure you let them know that who sent you. So make sure you do that.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Just a little something, trying to help a friend out, help a friend out. Yeah, it is.
I think I paid $50 for them too, so just sell them for what I bought it for.
Matthew got a haul this week. He's very excited about this, and he made sure to let me know about it, and he's really excited to show you guys. So, guys, I am going to hand it over to Matthew to show off his local haul.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this will be local technically, but we'll call it a local haul. It came to my house, but I have been on a Lord of the Rings Hobbit kick lately for some reason. I've been not playing video games and just watching movies. So all last week, I probably watched like 20 movies and watched part of The Boys. Almost finished that TV series. But Lord of the Rings has been a big one. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I did was I bought myself a book set for the Lord of the Rings. This nice book set. It's gonna go on the shelf. For those of you who don't know, you'll see here on the picture. For those of you who are on the podcast, you won't be able to hear it or see it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these pictures, and then I'm going to put another shelf up here, all for Lord of the Rings. Oh my gosh, I forgot I have another freaking haul. Oh man, one haul. It's just one. It's right.
Oh no. Of course it is. And he's got to go grab it right off his freaking treasure chest. Oh,
This
no.
haul is pretty freaking sweet. And Regan might be a little jealous.
I won't be.
But it's Spider-Man and X-Men Arcade Revenge for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Complete in freaking box. Look at how beautiful it looks. The only reason I got it was because I got it on a deal. And in the next week or two, X-Men 97 comes out. So I had to get it. I saw it. I bought it. And I'm an impulse buyer. It's unfortunate.
Wait, X-Men 97. Tell me more about that, Matthew, because I'm curious. I don't know a whole lot about that.
Yeah, so back in the day, for those of you who don't know, X-Men was a TV series. It was a cartoon TV series back in the day. And I grew up on the TV show. So it was it came out like 1990 to like 2000 or something like that. I'm looking it up right now. You can watch it on Disney Plus right now.
Yep.
It's got all of the episodes on there. But it's essentially like one of the first cartoon Marvel TV shows I ever watched growing up. And now X-Men 97 is going to be the reboot of the series, continuing from where it left off, if I'm not mistaken. So upgraded graphics, new story, and I'm really, really freaking excited. So yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, it's a good show. So check it out. It's really, really good classic 90s show. So if you liked Batman Beyond, if you liked Spider-Man back in the day, it'll be the same kind of graphic style, storytelling style. So you'll like it. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even know about that. I mean, I watched X-Men 97 too, but I didn't know they were bringing it back, actually. That's a whole new news to me, actually. I have not been keeping up, really.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Matthew, real quick question, actually. Have you heard of The Gentleman? It's a Netflix series.
I have not.
My wife and I started watching that yesterday. Pretty good. It's with Theo James. He's actually in X-Men 97, the new series. I don't know what he's playing in it, but it's basically kind of a mixture, how do I put it, of Breaking Bad and it's a new twist kind of on Breaking Bad. What else is it a combination of? Breaking Bad and maybe Avatar: The Last Airbender? I don't know. It's a good series.
How is it like Avatar and the Last Airbender?
This story is kind of like Avatar. Nothing like specifically about like earthbending or anything like that, the magics or the Five Kingdoms or anything like that. But it's more of the story of Aang, and the whole story that follows. They just go on these quests but there's one final quest that they're trying to figure out. And each episode is basically a new quest, or he's got feats that he's got to figure out. You meet somebody and then they're like, hey, can you do this for me? And if you do this for me, I'll give you this. I don't know what you, but yeah, and it's pretty interesting. My wife loves it, and one of the things that she loves about, well, my beautiful wife, I should say, she doesn't like anything cartoons. It can't. It's not a grown-up thing. It's like it's for children if it's cartoons. I completely disagree with her on that, obviously. But what can you do? This is one of the shows that we can watch and we enjoy together. What'd you say?
I said she hasn't watched Invincible. Invincible's like that is not for kids. That's 100% true.
But today is March 11th. Big things. We talked a little bit in the pre-show about things that are happening around the NFL. Big moves happening around, most notably for us as Minnesota Viking fans. Kirk Cousins is no longer in Viking, but in Atlanta Falcon. But if you guys want to hear our opinions on that, guys, show up to the pre-show every Monday at 8. Today, we kind of went a little later because of technical difficulties, but we usually start right around 8. So show up if you want to indulge yourself in those conversations with us. Other than that,
big news here. Sorry to pause you. I apologize, Regan, but the Cincinnati Bengals have released Joe Mixon from their team, and now
is that a potential landing spot for the Vikings?
I think that's a potential landing spot for the Vikings, or the Dallas Cowboys or the Texans. So I think the Vikings have to give a decent offer. But again, I think before we ever get a running back, we need to get a freaking quarterback. So before we spend any of our budget in the cap space, before they spend their budget in cap space, is that they got to go get a quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Vikings need to hone in on a quarterback right now. And that's a huge void right now that they're missing for next season if they want to compete at a high level. Anyways, other news going around the world right now. I heard about this the other day. The P. Diddy trials. Have you heard of what's going on with P.
Diddy trials? What is going on?
Lawsuit.
P. Diddy lawsuit.
Yeah, dude. It is crazy. It is the next Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein thing. Basically, I've heard this through like a YouTube thing, but I looked it up and it's kind of going on right now still. It's not fully like nothing's happening right now. Like it's just a lawsuit. Nothing has been like
determined.
Convicted
so it's all
or
just
right now. But what they're alleging is that P. Diddy would get people like drunk or get them all like doped up on something and make them do something crazy, like doing things with minors, and then they would record it, and then they would use that as blackmail to have them do things. And these are higher up people. So, and this is what I've heard. I haven't really read anything specific on this, but that's what he would do. He would basically convince them to sleep with him. So it wasn't women though. It was men. And it's funny because I think about this.
You think about men all the time? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, sorry.
There was a video of him and Justin Bieber, and him calling out Justin Bieber like, "Hey, why haven't you reached out to me?" Let me see. Justin Bieber. like he's like a groomer apparently. That's what they're saying, and he's reached. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Justin Bieber, P. Diddy, Justin Bieber, awkward video. I believe there's a. Yeah, there it is. Here it is. Let me show you. This. This is on freaking the old thing. So he's growing up. Justin Bieber, P. Diddy they were close. You'll see that, but here Diddy asked him where they haven't hung out in a while. So let me make sure my sound's on too. I gotta do an entire screen. Yeah, I gotta do the entire screen. Okay, here. Okay, here we go.
Excuse me.
Everything's good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
That is really awkward.
It is super awkward. And then there's a one where he's like not even 15. He's like 15 in this. This is like a couple years before that video that I just showed you.
As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock.
No doubt they like dressed up for this.
It's a little dusty, but you know. First shot.
Man.
Minute.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down there, you gotta,
This is just.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
16.
Not ready.
16.
Slow down. Let's slow down, Josh.
Okay.
Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours. And you know.
Got that hand on him
16.
a little too long there, P. Diddy. Licked his
Then, when you
lips.
get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So where are we off to?
Gosh.
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where we go?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing.
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
I don't know if I want to even finish that.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway,
that's-
so
to me
that's
that's weird, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird.
it is weird, and it's like the video I was watching yesterday. It's just kind of confirming what we've already known about what's going on in Hollywood. There's some wacky stuff going on in there. Never known really specific what it was, but like this kind of confirms a little bit. I mean, like I said though before, he hasn't been convicted of anything, but it's just
so we
the
can't
thing.
make any conclusions, but it is still weird.
Right.
So we're not coming after you. We're not spreading
Propaganda.
We're not, creating defamation. Just making a comment on something.
Yeah, it's just a little weird. If
It's
you
just a
ask
little weird.
me. Anyways, well, let's get into Kung Fu Panda. This is gonna be an interesting episode, for sure. Matthew, you watched all 3 before coming and watching the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you brought your daughter with. Didn't tell me about that.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
And your wife with. Didn't tell me about that either. Let's dive in. You good with that? You good with that? Or did you want to explore anything else with the current events that's going on in the world today? Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, big news here at the Goof and Goober Show is I am now one of the assistant offensive line coaches now for Crown College football.
That's right. Congrats,
I'm
big
no longer
dog.
the freaking running backs coach, which let me tell
About
you
time.
what. It was kind of bittersweet, but once I got back into the room, got on the board, started doing some O-line stuff, looking at the plays, watching film is different. So it just felt good to be back into my element. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Me, Coach Green, Coach Franz, we're gonna absolutely crush it with this group. It's gonna be a top tier O-line group.
Yeah,
sure.
that's interesting. It's taken them this long to put you in with the O-line. That's one of the things that I didn't really understand a whole lot. I mean, hey, I'm not a coach, I'm not like a head coach, but it just didn't make sense to put Joe Yates in the O-line. I mean, not to say anything against Joe Yates. Oh gosh.
No, Joe's gonna listen. Sorry, Joe.
Sorry, Joe. I mean, to put him, but him over you was kind of I didn't understand. Because you seem to understand the offense a lot better, and you were playing a lot of doing these calls, especially like from the outside. It looked like you had a lot more input into the game than Joe did, and that's something that I didn't really understand a whole lot. Not to put anything against Joe or anything like that. I just think you have one of those. I think you have an elite football mind. Compared to everyone else on the team. I think you are up there with the head coaches. But to put you at running backs is somewhat of a disgrace to you. If you ask me, because running backs it's not that hard to coach the running backs. I don't think it is. I think Coach Bo, the guy who was mine or yours and ours running backs coach when we were playing, he wasn't that good of a coach. You didn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, you just get behind some O-line and then just find a hole and hopefully it works. And luckily we had some pretty good running backs though that were pretty athletic. And so that's the thing with being a running backs coach is you just need an athlete. You don't need to really teach them a whole lot. You just need an athlete. You do need to coach a little bit. Just hit the hole. But I don't know. I think that was a little bit of a disgrace to you of just putting you at. Now
I will say I will give credit. Okay, and I, when it comes to like where I'm placed, like. If they asked me to be the receivers coach, I would be like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot and I'll do it because, I want to help the team win. Do I know anything about it? Not really. I've never really played receiver.
Right.
And I never really played running back all too much, right? But you are right in the fact that running back in our system was extremely, extremely easy. Right.
Yeah.
For me, it was more of teaching mindset is really what I had to really teach, because a lot of these guys come from places where, they were some of the best football players on their team and they could just run one way, run to the sideline, catch the edge and score. Right. But in college, that's not the case. We just want any yards we can with running the ball. And that's downhill, fighting and scratching for every yard. And traditionally, running to the sideline in college doesn't really work unless you're really, really fast. which we didn't have. We didn't have
Right.
those guys. So I think it's going to be nice for me to go back to the O-line. I think
Yeah.
what I'm going to be able to instill into these guys is confidence. I think that's something that I bring to
Yeah,
a lot of these
100%.
players, is that they're going to feel confident in what they're doing. But that confidence is also going to create a nasty behavior in how they play, which is what we need personally.
Oh, 100%. Real quick, not to get off topic of this, because I do want to talk about that and what you're talking about with receivers, but huge shout out to Isaac Evanson on his brand new baby boy. Congrats, big dog, big supporter of the show, Isaac. He should be on now soon since he's had the baby. But congratulations, big dog, Isaac, with the baby boy. Let's go. Let's freaking
Congratulations, big dog.
go. But to kind of go with receivers, at least with receivers, what you're talking about, it's a lot easier to coach running backs. But in this system, I feel like with receivers, it's a lot more difficult because you're having to read coverages a lot better, a lot more than what you would do in a normal playbook. Because a lot of playbooks are just, you run this route and just run
at
that
this
route.
depth. If they're inside
Yeah.
shade, you just run it this way.
Right. But you really have to know the coverages in this system.
Yep.
So I think receivers would be a little bit more to you than running backs. Not to say, you can't be a good running backs coach, but it's hard to be a bad running backs coach in that system. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really different. It'd be like being a receivers coach for a triple option team, right? Like it's kind of in that way. But I will say, I did learn this last season. I learned a lot more about coverages and defenses and what the routes look like, and why our quarterback takes a 3-step drop and a half roll and the rhythms. I learned a lot of stuff being in that skill room that I really had never touched beforehand. Even when I played O-line and coached O-line, like I really didn't. O-line is just its own beast and its own thing that you kind of get separated from everything else, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It was nice to learn. It's nice to be back, though. It's nice to be back in the roots. When they were talking, they were like bringing up like this power and counter, bringing up all these different schemes, and they were like, are you getting this? Are you understanding it? I'm like, oh, yeah, we ran this stuff. Oh yeah, just a slight adjustment, like one thing, I could call this game right now. Like I could go out there and play it and be successful with what you guys are doing. So I felt really good.
I think you guys switching to more of a pass, or not a running, it's going to help you tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's going. I think, yes, passing is going to help you, and I think you guys really want to be a passing team, which is fine. But I think focusing a lot on the run is going to help tremendously. But I also, I saw something. We do need to review Avatar: The Last Airbender, dude. We both watched it.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not happy with what happened with, or not happy with what they did with this series. I think they really need to get something straight, something going. I don't know. Anyways, but that's just gonna be down the line. Also, guys, big shout out. I know I said we were going to go live and talk about Kung Fu Panda, but I wanted to say, I am now a semi-pro football player now. Back at it, dude.
Oh, back at it.
I am here and freaking ready to go.
Wow.
This last Saturday, I got to go work out with the team. And it's interesting, dude. It's always interesting to get back into the league and see what's happening. It is weird also now that I was gone for a year, then come back, and now they want me to be pretty much the leader of this defense, which I'm not opposed to. I think it would be really good for me, just individually, personally, to be more of a leader and take on that leadership role and what that really means to be that on the field. Of course, I was a team captain in college. Matthew and I were, but this would take us on a different leadership more so, because I feel like I really need to make plays where I am. Where in college, I really just needed to beat one guy. But here, I think I really have to make plays. It's basically playing the quarterback. My role is on the defense. I am basically the quarterback. I need to know what everyone's doing at all times. And so that's kind of the leadership role I'm taking on. So that'll be fun. It's going to be fun, I believe. So anyways, let's get into this. Freaking Kung Fu Panda 4. After Po is tapped to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace, he needs to find and train a new dragon warrior. While a wicked sorceress plans to resummon all the master villains whom Po has vanquished to the spirit realm. This is directed by Michael Mitchell, Stephanie Stein. Writers include Jonathan Abel, Glenn Berger, Darren Lemke, and it's bringing back Jack Black, Bryan Cranston, James Hong. Who else? I think, they say Seth Rogen. I don't know about that. It's, the guy, it's not showing it. What's his name? Where is he?
They bring in Akawakafina. Akawakafina.
Where's Master? Who plays Master Po?
Po? Master Po.
No, Master Shifu.
Master Shifu doesn't say on here.
What the?
It doesn't say.
Well, I have his face and everything in. Golly.
Shifu, Dustin Hoffman.
Yes, I think yes. Yes, Dustin Hoffman's back in it. It brings back a lot of characters, but there's some missing characters in this. That includes Jackie Chan, Angelina Jolie, Seth Rogen, and Lucy Liu.
Seth Rogen plays Mantis,
but I don't think we ever heard him in this. They didn't. They specifically left them out in this whole thing. At the very beginning was basically, Mantis is out doing his own thing. Monkey's doing on his own trip. Tigress, Viper. He basically also David Cross is in this. Sorry, all of the Fantastic Five or whatever they said, the Magnificent Five. They were gone, nowhere to be seen. In this. So if you're looking to see or hear your favorite Kung Fu person, Jackie Chan,
I'm sorry, but you don't get it.
That okay. Anyways,
Mr. Beast also stars in as Panda Pig.
I saw that, and I didn't know who Panda Pig was. I was thinking about it. He didn't play that major of a role to make me think, oh, that's
he
Mr.
did an
Beast.
audition. He did the audition for the Dragon Warrior.
Mr.
At the
Beast?
beginning. Panda Pig. We'll get into the spoilers here in just a little bit.
Matthew, give us your rating of Kung Fu Panda 4. Non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler. So this is a Kung Fu Panda movie. Okay,
Yep.
This movie doesn't freaking blow me into oblivion, and it doesn't blow my socks off. It's nothing crazy. It is a standard Kung Fu Panda movie. Okay, you get what you get. It's funny. There's jokes. There's Jack Black. There's some funny moments. some cool moments. Overall, it's an okay movie. I definitely think that it's watchable. I'm not gonna rate it extremely high. It's gonna be like a 3.8 for me, like a 3.8. You know, it's watchable. It's not gonna blow you away, but it's good. It was funny at times. There were quirks and moments that you're like, oh, that caught me off guard. That was pretty funny. But then there were moments there was like, really? So, yeah, that's my rating. I give it a 3.8. Definitely go take a look at it. Again, it's not gonna blow your socks away, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, so this, for me, myself, I am very disappointed in this Kung Fu Panda. I think the very first 3 movies of Kung Fu Panda were amazing. I loved each one. I think they did a new thing in each one that made you really keep you on your seat, I guess, is what I would say, on knowing who Po is and understanding his character development. This one seems just like they copied everything. There wasn't anything new in this movie. Every comedy scene you saw in the previews. There wasn't anything new that was like comical that you're like, oh, that was actually funny. I didn't see that in the previews. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. It's like you said, it's just like all the rest. It's the same story. They didn't try anything new. Obviously, like we said, he's trying to find a new Dragon Warrior. I don't think it really developed his story a whole lot. I mean, obviously they're moving on with a different Dragon Warrior now, but I don't think this is a good movie for Kung Fu Panda, the Kung Fu Panda saga. Obviously it's more for kids, and I'm a grown adult trying to critique a animated child's movie, kids movie. But
yeah, so
I mean,
you sound like a massive dick right now. So I'm just
you cannot believe you guys.
I cannot believe
but I mean, kids like the same thing over and over again. But I mean, this is the thing. Each one, everybody learned a new. Kung Fu or Po learned a new move. There was no real new moves that Po learned. I guess that could be different. That they kept something out. But Kung Fu Panda 3 was about finding his father. Kung Fu Panda 2 was learning more about his past, that he wasn't adopted. And then Kung Fu Panda, the first one, was just about him becoming the Dragon Warrior. And I don't know. Anyway, I'm ready to.
If you're expecting, let's just say this to keep it kind of simple. If you're expecting it to blow you away, this isn't the movie for it. This movie's not gonna do it. It's gonna be funny at times. It's gonna be goofy, obviously, and it's gonna be a kids movie. I mean, I think that's what made Kung Fu Panda good. But in the end, I mean, us as adults and us going to see a movie, we're blown away by it. But I know that the kids are gonna love this movie. They're gonna think it's hilarious.
There was one kid that was sitting next to us. He's just the whole time. It wasn't even just. I leaned over to Matthew like, I cannot stand this kid. Whoa. Anyways, so let's get into a little bit of the spoilers here. We're going to run our spoiler warning. Here you go. Hey there, Goof and Goober fans. Before we dive into the episode, we want to give you a heads up. Spoilers ahead. This message is equipped with our official Goof and Goober Show rating system, so you know just what you're getting into. Come on, follow along. A 5-star, a must-watch. Prepare for a roller coaster of emotions, jaw-dropping twists, and laughs that will leave your sides aching. These are game changers. Then we have a 4-star. This is entertaining. While not quite a life-altering experience, these movies and TV shows are popcorn recommended. 3 stars, average and not groundbreaking. A decent movie or episode that will still deliver the goods. It's worth a watch for dedicated fans. 2 stars, room for improvement. These movies or TV shows have their moments but fall short of our standard. And of course, 1 star, proceed with caution, buckle up. These are trash. Well, now that you know our rating system, let's jump in. Okay, guys, you know the rating system now after we rated it.
Humbly rated it.
Guys, this is also there's some new characters. I forgot to mention this. There are some new characters that they introduced. Ki Hui Kwan, who we know from Loki, and he also was in Everything Everywhere All at Once that we just watched the other day or the other week or whatever. How many weeks ago we said we watched that?
A couple weeks ago.
Viola Davis. What?
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. And Aquafina. That's not her name. No way is that her name, dude.
It's her name. It's her name, dude. Aquafina. What? Yeah. Dude, that's her name, dude.
Who named?
Dude, she has been... Okay, so first off, she has been in, like, so many movies, by the way, recently. Like, she's popped off the charts with being in movies. Like, a lot of voice acting movies. So she was in... I'll pull it up. So, she was in Cha-Ching, right? So, you saw that one.
Yep.
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yep,
Raya and the Last Dragon. Migration. That came out later last year. Jumanji to 2019. The Little Mermaid in 2023. She was in Angry Birds. She was in The Storks, the SpongeBob movie. I mean, she was in a lot. She's in a lot of movies.
I have been noticing her a lot more. I mean, do you find her humorous at all, though?
I thought she was funny in Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. Excuse me. Shang-Chi. Why'd I say Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi. She was good in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And she does okay in Raya the Last Dragon. She's not like super funny in my opinion, but she's okay. I thought her funniest one that I've seen is Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Well, also noticeable is Ian McShane as Tai Lung coming back to come back from Kung Fu Panda 1, where he played the whatever his name is, Tai Lung. How do you feel? First off, let me ask this: how do you feel about them not bringing back the majestic, the Fantastic Five, or whatever the five of the Jackie Chan, Angelina Jolie, Seth Rogen, who else was it?
So
Lucy Liu and David Cross. How do you feel about that?
Well, first things first. So I read an article about it. They use that as a I'm pretty sure they used it as a marketing tool. That's what they used it for. Marketing came in. They said, "Hey, we need to have the Furious 5 come in at the end." Like that's so for me. And again, we talk about this with a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies with the cash grab, right? That's what they use it for.
Right.
So I think this was a cash grab for the future of what they're doing. saying, "Hey, we're going to bring back the miraculous," or is it the Furious Five? Is that
Yeah,
what
the
that
Furious
is?
Five sounds way better than what I said.
The Furious Five. Yeah, it's the Furious Five. Kung Fu Panda. They weren't actually supposed to be in this movie at all.
In Kung Fu Panda 4?
Yeah, they weren't supposed to be in this movie at all.
They weren't.
Yep. And because they wanted to, and I'm just reading it here, they wanted to expand the world itself. Because they were saying that the roster started getting really crowded, having the Furious Five, and adding in, Shifu, adding in a bunch of, all of the different stuff. So they were gonna plan to not have it, but then marketing said, you know what, add it. So I don't know. For me, I think it's okay. Did I want them to show up? Sure. But I understand why the director decided not to have them in there at the beginning, because this is a story about Poe taking that next step in life, right? Not being complacent with what he's currently doing or where he's at, but saying, hey, let's take it to the next level, right? Like, you're done with this particular part of your life. Let's move on.
Right.
And this just kind of reopens that a little bit. Like, takes the attention off the growth between Poe and Aquafina's character, whatever it is. I can't remember the name.
Well, the thing that made Kung Fu Panda so good was because the Furious Five. I don't like that relationship between them is what also helped make Kung Fu Panda. I don't think taking away those characters, I think, was a bad decision for. I know they want to expand it. I just don't think I think it was a bad decision for the marketing team, because people wanted to watch it because of some reason, because of the Furious Five. You got Jackie Chan, who was an actual martial art. He isn't a martial artist, and that's one of the reasons why I watched Kung Fu Panda in the very beginning. When did this come out? Kung Fu Panda, the first one, 2008. I was 13. I believe
2008.
13, 14. But that was the main reason why I really wanted to watch Kung Fu Panda, is because of Jackie Chan. I freaking love Jackie Chan, and just know that he's in an animated series of Kung Fu. I loved it. And these are Poe's basically best friends. And the last time we heard about him is that he took over as being the master over them. Like, he was the Master Shifu now, but now he's Master Poe. So that it just doesn't make sense to me why they would do that. I think it was a dumb move. I don't think it's really doing them well. I mean, I haven't really checked the box office for Kung Fu Panda 4 to see how well they're doing.
$58 million.
Okay. It's weekend box office results. Kung Fu Panda 4 dethrones Dune? No way. There's no way. Kung Fu Panda 4 dethrones Dune 2 at box office. Another one says.
There's no way.
There's no way, dude. Well, I guess it's doing well. It doesn't make sense to me why you'd go. I mean, yes, you get Poe, but you're not getting the Furious Five, and maybe people are a little upset about that, and they were expecting the Furious Five, but realized, oh, the Furious Five isn't in this.
I think so. When it says dethrones Dune 2 at the weekend box office. I'm thinking it's this week in particular.
The weekend. That
That
weekend.
particular weekend.
Yeah.
Because there's just, I mean,
Dune 2, dude. I mean, not to get off topic with Kung Fu Panda, but Dune 2, I keep thinking about it and how good that was, dude.
it raked in $82 million the first movie. So there's
it's partially probably I'm thinking about it too much too, is because I'm reading the book right now or listening to the Audible. But I'm thinking about it and it's just like, yeah, it follows the book pretty close too. From what I'm listening to, there's some things that like they didn't do in it, but like it's pretty close. It's like Lord of the Rings type stuff, and that this is basically the Lord of the Rings series back when we were kids, but now it's live.
But now it's Dune.
It's Dune. It's Dune, baby.
Do you think that Dune? Well, I guess we're getting off topic. Without quick question, do you think Dune 2 is gonna surpass Lord of the Rings in terms of the likeness and being a trilogy? Do you think it's going? I don't know. It's a tough question. Do you think it's going to surpass the Lord of the Rings in terms of best trilogy?
I mean, I don't necessarily know the ending of this, but I don't think so. The reason being I say that is because Lord of the Rings have so many relatable characters that they follow throughout the movie. Dune doesn't really have that. The main character, you really only have Paul, and that's the main character. There's not really anyone besides him that you're really rooting for. I can't really think of anyone else. But Paul seems to be the main guy. It'd be like a movie just specifically for Frodo, not reviewing Sam, his friendships with him, or Legolas and Aragorn, or Gimli, or Merry Pippin, or Gandalf. The thing that made Lord of the Rings so good, story-wise, it was really good. I mean, Dune has that, for sure. It's got that story. Graphics, top of the line. As well as, but the thing is that's difference between Dune and Lord of the Rings is the character development, and the multiple characters that you can relate with. And so I think that's what makes Lord of the Rings better than Dune. Not to poop on Dune at all. I think
Dune's good.
It's really good.
It's just really hard to beat Lord of the Rings.
It's hard to beat Lord of the Rings. And J.R.R. Tolkien does a fantastic job. He crushes it with his books, as well as
crush.
What's the director?
Jackson.
Peter Jackson. Yeah, he does an amazing job too with all that. Anyways, they introduced a new character in Kung Fu Panda 4, Zen. Right away, you pretty much can conclude that she's going to be the Dragon Warrior. You're like, it's going to be the Dragon Warrior.
Yeah,
just because it's a kids movie. It's not going to be. I don't know. I think that twist of things should have been a little bit better. Obviously, it was just like, okay. Pretty obviously, maybe they should have had Poe pick somebody to be the Dragon Warrior, and then he changed his mind, maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what did you think of the new Dragon Warrior that is going to hopefully maybe carry on the legacy of Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah. I don't know. Because here's the thing, like, for me, now that I watch a ton of movies, like, because before we started this podcast, Regan and I, we would go to a bunch of movies. We would watch a bunch of movies. Regan lived with me, so we just did a bunch of stuff together, watched a bunch of stuff. But I never looked at stuff thoroughly from a movie standpoint, from the back end to the message, Like, what are they looking for? What are they trying to push? What type of agenda they're pushing? And so there are times where I'm just like, well, I don't know, right? Because for me, if I'm not mistaken, the Dragon Warrior's never been a woman.
No, I think like if you go back to the Kung Fu Panda 1, Tigress was supposedly that's what they were thinking, or at least Shifu was hoping would be the
But she
Kung Fu
didn't.
Panda, but she didn't. Or Master Tai, what's his face? Uguay did not choose him. Choose her, I should say. I don't know really anything about like past Kung Fu warriors. Because if I'm understanding it right from Kung Fu Panda 4, Uguay was previously the Kung Fu warrior, or the
Dragon Warrior.
Dragon Warrior. Or yeah, and so I don't know if he was or wasn't. I don't know too much about the story of Kung Fu Panda or even the Dragon Warrior, of the descendancy of the Dragon Warrior, or if there even was one, because it seemed like there wasn't before. They never really talked about it too much. Maybe you missed some. Maybe you caught up onto something that I didn't. But
I don't know.
From
I'm not making any I'm not making any statements on it other than that's just what I thought previously, because you are right. I mean, when you say Uguay, I thought Uguay was the previous Dragon Warrior. That's what I also thought previously. But starting this podcast for you guys that watch movies is like, at least for me, it makes me think about the message so much more. Like, what message are they trying to show? So for me, I was like, okay, this could be really cool. But then it's like, okay, well, what type of message are they trying to send? Right? Like, what is it going to look like moving forward? Is it going to turn out to be a Barbie fest where all they do is, now that there's a woman Dragon Warrior, is it going to turn into, feminist propaganda? Like, what, that's also something you have to think about. So for me, I thought it was pretty cool. I think Zen could be a really good Dragon Warrior potentially in the future. I think that the story that she had was obviously similar to Poe's, because it was meant to be. They purposely made their stories be very similar in the fact that she was adopted, she lost her family, she was picked up and brought in by somebody, and she was raised by another individual, same as Poe. So they really set it up and teed it up pretty well. What I'm more like hesitant about is like, where do you go from here? Because the show's not going to be Kung Fu Panda anymore. What is it going to be? Kung Fu Coyote? Like Kung Fu Coyote, Kung Fu Wolf, or whatever it is. Where does this show go? And are we done with Jack Black's portrayal as Poe? Are we like, where do we go from here? And I think that's where I'm more concerned with. It's not necessarily who becomes the Dragon Warrior. It's like, what happens next, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, I mean, we grew up on this movie. I mean, yes and no. Like later in our young age, sure, like 14. But it's a significant enough character that you're like, I wonder what really happens next. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I wanted to ask a question too, because in this movie, Lee, or Brian, the guy who plays Poe's father, and then where's his name? His other father, Mr. Ping.
Oh yeah.
They call themselves fathers, and so. Do you think there's a hidden? I was thinking about it too, because that was one of the things that was kind of weird for me listening to them. They say, like, we're his father, like we're his dads. You think there was anything behind that? You think you think that's a good thing in some ways, because it's not necessarily they are homosexual or in any way. They're just, that's his the dad that adopted him and then his biological dad. There's no romantics in that at all.
No.
I mean, obviously, I think that's okay, but I don't know.
They definitely. Okay, so I'm glad that you brought this up, because that, again, we watch so many movies that we have to look at like all of the message, and that was one of the things I brought up to Regan when we were watching. I was like, they keep saying we're fathers together, which in the surface level, right? That's totally fine. If you have a stepdad and your real dad and they're actual like good friends, I would hope that you two are really, close, and if you guys can be best friends, great. If you care about your son, great. Like that, I'm not against.
Right.
What I was more concerned about with that whole regime is that they made it seem like they were kind of like husband and wife, essentially, together. This wasn't two dads from separate backgrounds with separate wives making sure their son was okay. These were two guys who are below masculinity coming together and saying, we're basically married in this way, and we're going to go protect our son. So yes, I do think that there was some propaganda there in what they're saying, right? Because usually when you think of like masculinity, right, you think of, an individual who's brave and strong and, someone who's not afraid of the dark, or, a lot of different characteristics. Not that that's the only way a man can think, right? But that's what was, that was portrayed in the movie as, these guys aren't like normal men, right? Like they're not like your typical father figure type individuals. They're disconnected from that piece. So yes, I do think that there was in some ways that was a message to be sent, but subtle ways. I don't know. They didn't show any other mothers or fathers.
That's true.
They didn't show any of that. Like a mother figure. We haven't seen. And I don't remember what happened in the third one when Poe's dad finally showed up. But where did the wife come from? Where is she?
Well, there was, I believe, in that Kung Fu Panda 3, they did have some type of romantic thing with Poe, if I remember correct. I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, there was some type of girl in that tribe that really liked Poe, and Poe didn't want anything to do with her.
Mei Mei or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I agree. There's got to be something there. I think there. It was just kind of seemed like they were trying to say, "Hey, it's okay to have two dads."
It's Mei Mei. It's Mei Mei. But what I'm talking about is for the dad. The dad just randomly shows up, but he doesn't have a wife, right? But now these two dads they basically live under one household, but they treat it as if like one's the husband, one's the wife the entire time. Like the goose is the wife, and the father's the father, essentially, right? So that's how they painted it. They painted it in that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think they were pushing something there. Last thing I want to talk about is the chameleon. How did you feel about the chameleon and how they portrayed her, and then kind of the final scene with fighting the chameleon? Did you like that basically she trapped Poe in basically a indestructible cage that he can't punch through, and then you find out afterwards, he could get out and he could fight her, but he just wanted Zen to fight her. Is that something? Were you okay with that? Was that too much? Was that kind of like? It kind of seems like you guys are taking a shortcut out of this.
Again, this is a kids movie.
Right. Kids
so
movie.
the more complex this fighting scene is, the harder it is for these kids to understand.
Yeah, true.
So I think the simplicity was supposed to be that way. I think that's what it was meant to be. I think, them just randomly showing up, or the sorcerer, whatever her name is, the chameleon, randomly showing up, and Poe just willingly hands over the staff, right? Like, I think is just. I don't know if it's lazy writing, other than the fact that it's writing to the people who you expect to watch the movie, right? It's not like Dune. It's not like Lord of the Rings. It's not like any other movie that we are watching, other than the fact that there's fighting. This is meant for kids, so I think it was good from an adult perspective. Obviously, I would have wanted more, right? Like, it kind of just jumped right into it. Like, hell, oh, here's the staff, and Merry Christmas. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm evil, and I've been working with the chameleon the whole time. And and then they have the whole battle, and, she comes back and, comes back to the it'd be like, Anakin coming back to the light side immediately after, like, cutting someone's head off, right? Like, it's kind of like one of those ideas. She just stole the staff that controls, the chameleon accessing the spirit world, steals it. Poe gets, breaks out, and then she goes and chases him, and, and essentially, was like, I'm so sorry, I apologize. And now she's the dragon warrior, right? Like, after everything's all said and done. Like, yeah, it's lazy writing, but I think it's for kids. For kids.
I think for sure. I'm 100% on board with that. It was lazy writing. We wish they could have done a little bit more. But I'm an adult. This is made for kids. And I completely understand that. And I mean, I grew up with this, though. I think that's the thing. I mean, 2008 was 16 years ago. The kids who probably were watching it were 8 years old, which means the kids that loved Kung Fu Panda back then are 24 years old. Maybe try to keep up with maybe the 24-year-olds have kids. I don't think a whole lot of 24-year-olds have kids. 24, 25, 26-year-olds are people that have kids. And so that's the problem I might be having with this, is that I think their audience size is, I guess, but it's still for kids. I don't know.
It's a tough situation.
Yeah.
I think so. Look, I get what you're saying. I think the route that they took was the right route, because in the end, right, like, I would hope that every adult that watches this is like, they realize and say, oh, okay, it's a kid's movie, right? So I've got to put a little bit of my feelings behind me and saying, you know what, just going to have to, take what's given at this point, right? Although it's not the exact, thing that we're looking for, which I agree with you on. I think the route that they took was, the best route, because if not, then it becomes disingenuous, right? Like, imagine if they were saying, okay, well, let's cater to our 24-year-olds and have Poe, get his head chopped off, right? Like, that would just be like, whoa, that's weird. You know what I mean? So I think the route that they went was good. Could they have spiced it up a little bit? Absolutely. But I think it's also free money for them, right?
Yeah.
They didn't need to make a Kung Fu Panda 4. They didn't. It's not necessary. They have a TV show. They have all 3 of the movies beforehand. This was just, hey, we love Jack Black, and by all means, I think Jack Black absolutely crushed it. I think Jack Black's always funny, no matter what.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a kid's movie. and it will always be a kids movie at the end of the day. What I didn't like for me is the chameleon. To me, just was not an interesting character at all.
I think a lot of it is too, like, they didn't follow a whole lot of the backstory. I think in the previous ones we heard a little bit more about their backstories, with the guy who stole the chi, and then the peacock, and then Tai Lung. I think we learned a lot more about their backstory, but in this one we're not learning about the chameleon's backstory. We're learning about Zen's backstory a little bit more. Which is a different approach, but I think it's because, like you said, I think it's to expand what they already are doing right now, so it's not just based off of Poe. You know, there's more to it. So
I think it was lazy because they kind of just said, "Oh, I was told I can't learn kung fu because I'm too small. So I'm going to become a sorcerer and steal kung fu moves."
Right. That was basically it. There was no, like, who told you this? Like, if there was this person wrong, maybe is there a redemption story in that?
Yeah. Like, I was beat as a child, and my father sent me off to this entrapment
military
camp,
school,
and I had to fight my way out by reading books on Tao Lung, and something of that nature would have been way better. But again, and we could go hours probably talking about the movie. I mean, it's a good movie. Jack Black kills it, but it's a kid's movie, and there's a lot of flaws in it. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a lot of things that is a little preachy, but in the end, it's a kid's movie.
It's a kid's movie.
It's a kid's movie.
It's a kid's movie, dude.
It's a freaking kid's movie.
It's a kid's movie, and guys, that is going to be the review of Kung Fu Panda 4. Reese Dvorak is saying hello. It is that time of the episode to say hello to Scarlett. Hi, Scarlett. Hi. But that is going to do it for our episode of episode 4. Yep. Yes, Reese, you got in at the very end. Congrats.
The last second.
Very last, yeah. But we appreciate you guys listening in and showing up, even if it's for a little bit at the end. We appreciate it, and hollering, "Hi, Scarlett. Hi." Hi, Scarlett.
Hi, Regan.
Oh, hi. Hi, Scarlett. We're going to say that forever. Oh, gosh, how embarrassing. Oh. Also, real quick, why don't you, Scarlett, you show us your Kung Fu skills on the pod real quick. And then bow. Do a bow. And then... Perfect. It works out great.
Zen?
And that... And that is going to do it for the Goof and Goober Show, guys. Thank you for listening. We love you. Make sure you follow us on all our socials, and we will see you next week.
We have a special guest next week, ladies and gentlemen. Special guest. It's exciting. Can't tell you who it is, but it's going to be a special guest next week.
Can't wait.
So
Peace. And that's a wrap on another hilarious and unforgettable episode of the Goof and Goober Show. We hope you had as much fun listening as we did recording. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our future goofiness. Join us next time as we continue to explore the weird and wonderful world of laughter and entertainment. Remember, you can always connect with us on social media and share your favorite moments using hashtag Goof and Goober Show. Until next time, stay goofy, stay goober, and keep spreading smiles wherever you go. Thanks for tuning in to the Goof and Goober Show with Matthew and Regan.